Tombstone, Arizona, October 1881. The air was dry, the streets dusty, and the town itself on edge. Silver had turned this patch of desert into a boomtown, but with silver came greed, and with greed came guns. Into this storm walked lawmen and legends, the Earp brothers and their ally, Doc Holliday. Virgil Earp carried the badge first. As Tombstone's town marshal, he was steady, respected, and willing to fight for order when others shrank back. His was the authority of the law, and he wore it like armor. Morgan Earp, younger and hot-blooded, had the same iron in his veins. He followed his brothers with unwavering loyalty, his resolve forged less by office than by blood and pride. And Wyatt Earp, the one history would remember most, tall, calm, deliberate, a man whose strength lay not in a quick temper, but in his ability to hold steady when others lost their nerve. To friends he was reliable, to enemies unyielding. At their side stood Doc Holliday, gambler, dentist, and deadly gunman. Thin, pale, coughing from consumption, yet dangerous as a coiled rattlesnake. His loyalty to Wyatt was absolute, his reputation feared across the West. Together they were more than men. They were a line drawn in the desert dust, law and order facing down chaos and violence. But in Tombstone, order had enemies. Chief among them, Ike Clanton and his cowboy gang. Ike despised the Earps. He saw them as self-righteous opportunists, men who claimed the law for themselves while profiting from the same gambling halls and saloons as everyone else. To Ike, the Earps were no better than hired guns protecting business elites. To the Earps, Ike was worse. A braggart, a rustler, and a drunk who cloaked his cowardice in bluster. The feud deepened with every insult. Ike swore the Earps were out to ruin him. Wyatt dismissed Ike as a loudmouth who needed a lesson in humility. Doc Holliday, never one to hold his tongue, cut Ike with sharp words at every chance. By October, the quarrels had spilled into the streets. Threats turned to brawls. Brawls turned to gunfights. And the whole town braced for the day when someone finally pulled the trigger. That day came on October 26, 1881. Ike Clanton and his Cowboys, including Tom and Frank McClory and Billy Clanton, swaggered through Tombstone, armed and defiant. The night before, Ike had been drinking and ranting in the saloons, vowing to kill the Earps on sight. By morning, he was fined for carrying weapons in town, but his allies gathered, ready for blood. Word spread fast. The Cowboys were armed in defiance of Tombstone's no-gun ordinance. The law had been challenged. The Earps could not ignore it. So Virgil, Morgan, and Wyatt, with Doc Holliday at their side, marched down Fremont Street. 4 men against 6, lawmen against cowboys. And every step echoed with the knowledge that the next few seconds might decide who lived and who died. They turned the corner, stepping into the vacant lot near the OK Corral. The Cowboys waited. Frank and Tom McClory, Billy Clanton, Ike Clanton, and Billy Claiborne. Dust swirled. A horse shifted nervously. The street fell silent. Virgil raised his voice. "Throw up your hands, boys. I want your guns." For one breath, no one moved. Then chaos. Gunfire ripped the air. Muzzle flashes lit the dust. Billy Clanton fired wildly, bullets slamming into walls and wagons. Doc Holliday, deadly with a shotgun, let loose a blast that dropped Tom McClory. Morgan Earp took a round to the shoulder, but kept firing, steady under fire. Wyatt moved with calm precision, choosing each shot, his Colt steady in his hand. He would later swear he never fired until he was sure his target was armed. In barely 30 seconds, 30 shots were fired. When the smoke cleared, Billy Clanton lay dying, refusing to give up his pistol until the very end. The McClory brothers were dead in the dust. Ike Clanton, the man whose rage had sparked it all, had fled unscathed, leaving his friends to die where they stood. The Earps walked away wounded but alive, their legend forged in gunsmoke. But Tombstone itself? Tombstone was divided. To some, the Earps were heroes, men who stood for law in a lawless land. To others, they were killers, men who had executed their rivals in cold blood. Trials followed. Accusations flew. Wyatt and his brothers found themselves hunted as much as hailed. The feud did not end at the OK Corral. It only deepened, leading to assassinations, ambushes, and revenge rides across the desert. Yet history remembers that moment in the vacant lot. Not for the number of dead, not for the legality of it, but for what it symbolized. The clash between order and chaos, law and outlaw, the thin line of civilization holding against the storm of the frontier. And like all legends, it grew in the telling. The shootout became more than a street fight. It became myth, a story that would carry the name of Tombstone across the world. Stand in Tombstone today, and you can still walk the streets where the Earps and Cowboys faced each other. You can still feel the weight of that silence before the gunfire. And you realize history isn't just written in books. Sometimes it's burned into the dust by men with revolvers. Because the OK Corral was not just a gunfight. It was America, on the edge of law and lawlessness. It was the boomtown dream meeting the harsh truth of blood and bullets. And it left us with a reminder. Legends are born not in peace, but in moments when the world holds its breath, and 30 seconds of gunfire echo for eternity. If this story stirred something in you, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow my channel Chronicle Vault for the full Tombstone saga and other epic stories that should never be forgotten.